Good, excuse me, evening, my friends, and welcome to Wednesday night live stream. Looks like we have with us Supreme Celine. Hello, nice to have you, and all you other divine folks. As it says in my welcome, everyone from multiple galaxies is welcome, but please park your spaceships in the back and then sign in. Maybe that's Supreme Celine. Welcome. So our work is around the mystery, the magic of the star tetrahedron, the mystical marriage of the divine masculine, the divine feminine, of spirit and matter, of masculine, feminine, yin yang. And so it brings all the polar opposites of creation and unifies them in one geometric structure, which of course is quite phenomenal. But the beauty of that is, of course, as the star tetrahedron is spinning with the upper triangulation moving in one way, the lower triangulation and counter rotation the other way, and it's spinning up and down, in and out, around. If you ever heard how an electron spins, it spins so rapidly that it gives it the appearance of form, but in fact it's just electrical thought wave that is moving so rapidly in all directions, it then creates what appears to be a circle. Well, it's the same with the star tetrahedron, and so it then actually creates it to be then a circle rather than just a geometric star, but the circle is composed of all these facets spinning so rapidly. The great beauty of the star tetrahedron is, though, that it moving so rapidly that it opens a vortex within the very center of the star, which is within the heart chakra, and it literally opens the doorway back into the void. The reason this is so is because in the very beginning of creation, when mind, and of course only mind consciousness exists in the very beginning of creation, it then divided itself into that which is the aspect of the divine father and then the divine mother. So we have the pole of positive above, negative beneath. And so it then created a polar opposition. But then through triangulation, it then created the masculine and then the feminine. And as we then moved into creation within form, those were often then in polar opposition to each other. The masculine seeking to know itself, the feminine seeking to know itself. And so all creation is from this polar opposition of yin and yang, of masculine, feminine, positive, and negative. But a human being is able then to bring all of those polar oppositions back together. Through the crown chakra, we open to, if you will, Father Spirit, the positive aspect. From the base of the spine, we then open to the negative mother womb energy. And we then bring the right side of the body masculine. We unify it with the left side feminine feeling. And so then mind and heart and all these polar opposites unite once again in an energetic vortex here. And because we've united all the polar opposites of creation back into unity, we can then be trusted with all the powers of heaven and earth, which means we are now the open doorway back into the void, the place of pure consciousness that first emanated into form through the star tetrahedron. And so all creation came in its origination out of this Christ frequency. It is called the Christ because it is a crystalline structure. That's really where the name comes from. And it's then these prismatic forms, as they're spinning so super rapidly, there is an image, thought, feeling within the very center of the heart, within the void. And as spirit, it arises forth. It then touches the imagination of the feminine, the imaging, the divine focus, the power of intention of the masculine. And because it's unified in this prismatic form, the spirit then coming out, and through this prism, it then creates a holographic reality, which then literally creates all life in the universe. And because it comes from one thing, which is consciousness, consciousness then underlies all creation. Everything is mind consciousness, that through the star tetrahedron, consciousness has been coalesced into light and light into form. And so the American Indian knew this, and so they revered the stone. They knew it was spirit. They revered the tree. And when they would cut a tree, they'd always take some tobacco or something in place before the tree, because they knew that they were then removing the spirit of the tree. They were then taking the form. And so they were then honoring what they called standing people. And so they honored the pebble, all creation as far as growing plants, trees. They honored the sky, the water, the wing flapper. And because they knew it was all consciousness that was simply embodying it, the shaman, or the awakened initiate, if you will, could then literally move his consciousness and unify it with the wing flapper, the eagle. And this is all beautifully detailed in the book Hanta Yo, Hantayo, Hanta Yo, an amazing book that you're literally walking as an American Indian as you read the book, because there's no personal pronouns, no I, we, mine, ours. It's simply life revealing itself in beauty, in revelation and graciousness and glory of all creation, honoring it. And so as the shaman would then unify his consciousness with the wing flap of the eagle, he could then fly over the plain and see where the herds were, where the buffaloes were. And so then he would then know where then to send out the hunting parties. They were living one and unified with Mother Nature, and yet still in touch with spirit. So this consciousness that underlies all creation, imagine, if you will, the ocean. It's water, and yes, there's some salt in the water, but when it evaporates, the salt stays there and the pure water arises forth. And then it becomes the rain, which is water, the ocean. It becomes the snow with its crystalline star tetrahedron structure. If you ever looked at water crystals and all snow crystals, their underlying first form is the star tetrahedron that then arises in all this lace-like qualities of the star around it. And so the snowflake, excuse me, the water freezes, becomes ice. So ice is ocean. It then melts and then moves into the stream. The stream is ocean water, the oneness. It flows into the river, back to the ocean. It's the same with all life. It comes from one consciousness, the ocean of God, spirit, source, whatever you would like to call or name it. And this consciousness then divests itself into all creation: pebble, stone, rock, cliff, tree, human, animal, sun, moon, all creation. It's simply the ocean of God, source, energy, consciousness, that has, through imagination and intention, become this thing, this physical form that is a representation of the mind of God's source, the representation of consciousness in the dream, the void, now that God can now see God's self as form. And as we then open the star tetrahedron and we're then able to literally access the void once again, we literally become then co-creators with Source. The spirit of Source is now arising forth from within. It touches our intention, our imagination. As we well know, we're then breathing Source from inside out. And so spirit enlivens our imagination and literally become creator beings. Excuse me. And thus, Individuals who mastered the Christ wave, like Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, they literally manifested and created life. Loaves, fishes, healing, just on and on. And even recently, there was a great master, Sai Baba, who I went with my wife to India to see. And he literally manifested and created. He was just an amazing being that was, and all of his resources that he brought in from all of his donations simply went to giving, creating more water for communities, schools, areas for the homeless, planting trees, an amazing giver of life because it flowed through in total prosperity, unending. And so this is the void you see that is within you and I. And because we are then becoming divine creators now, we then are moving to the place where we recognize that spirit lives in all creation. And so even when we see something that bothers us, if we step back a moment and come to a higher place of consciousness, we then can look a little deeper inside, feel with your heart a little deeper inside, and you see that source exists within that which we think we are judging or criticizing or disliking. It's simply source going through some awakening to give it more information in its soul about how to finally come to the place that we are moving to of the mystical marriage of spirit and matter, of power and love. And all the souls on the planet are in many, many different places. And so some are going through what looks like tragedy, which looks like maybe warfare, which looks like pain and suffering to others. But you see, there's no victims in the play. There's simply individuals who, through karma, may have done something in error, so to speak, in one lifetime. They're now receiving it back. And so everything is happening in balance all the time. There's never imperfection. There's only consciousness, the mind of Source God, revealing itself in ever more interesting ways to learn about itself. So we move to a place of no longer judging or criticizing, worrying or needing. We know that Source from inside out is providing all things for us. And as we begin to move to that place in consciousness, we actually find, you see, that literally things are then coming and being magnetized to us. I have a student I work with in Wisconsin, and when I first started working with her, there was a lot of feelings of lack of prosperity, difficulties, and over time, we've helped her understand that it's simply the feelings inside that are creating things outside. And where she lived, the sign said, what was it? Poor man's gulch. Well, of course she was poor man. That was what she named her little ranch in, Wisconsin. And so I had her make a new sign called Prosperity Junction. And over time, prosperity has just been rolling in unseen and magical ways. She changed her consciousness to prosperity, and then the emotional tone began to be more joy and happiness and peace as she let go of the emotions, which were feelings of lack of self-love. That's what all emotion is. Learning to love the child within her and acknowledging and loving self. I am God, I am Source. Then the reflection of I am God's Source simply came to her. The ocean is yours, but it's the feelings that you then cast upon the ocean that becomes the waves of creation. But more importantly and beautifully, we're moving to a place where we become literally one as the ocean, which is the star tetrahedron. God, I am. Source, I am. I am joy, I am peace, I am prosperity, I am health, and it will be so. It's just that simple. The focusing of mind, the imagination of the feeling, The mind cannot tell the difference between a highly imagined thought feeling and reality. Same serotonin, same then chemicals released in the brain. It is literally an imagined creation. The whole universe is imaged and imagined. From the star tetrahedron, the Christ frequency, consciousness coalesced into imagination that literally creates form. So, Creator God, I am. So when you speak that, you're speaking truth. If you say, I am tired, then you'll be tired. There's a part of me that is going to get some rest. I'm not tired. I'm not lonely. I'm not unhappy. I'm not broken. See, when you name those I ams, it literally sends out away from you, and Spirit says, oh, that's what you're wanting. I see. And so it delivers it. I am is the magic word. I am joy. I am peace. I am prosperity and health. I am ever giving and ever abundant. I am. One of the things that helps us in our understanding of bringing spirit from inside out, from the open doorway, is the breath work that we do. We call it the Soham breath because on the in breath, there's the sound of a little bit of constriction in the throat. It's called Ujjayi breath in yoga. We don't really need to make the sound, but it is a sense of almost. If you really exaggerate the sound, that's the sound of the so as you're breathing in. Again, we don't need to hear the sound, but it's there. And what it's doing, it's, of course, bringing in breath, oxygen, but more importantly in our work, the open doorway from out of it, we are summoning spirit. So there's three components to creation: imagination, feeling, one, imagination, feeling, and then intention, focus. Imagination, feeling, feminine, intention, focus, masculine. When the two are united, and then spirit is arising forth. This is the Trinity. And so it is the Trinity that then creates life. And we bring the spirit from inside out to literally give life to our creation. And so we are breathing it from the open doorway within the heart, called in India the jewel in the lotus. And so as we're breathing in, we're feeling this magnificent wave of spirit. It's quite blissful as you really learn to focus and hold your attention just on this feeling of bliss, spirit arising. We hold for a couple of counts, and as we release the breath, we just let it go. We then watch and see sparkling, effervescent, glittering golden light just flowing through every cell, tissue in the body. Again, I am the golden light of sparkling, effervescent joy and prosperity that flows out from us into the world, and then it's our gift to literally changing the frequency of the world. Not trying to change the world, we're simply creating the living water flowing from us, and it bathes the world in the true waters of life. So we'll do about 5 minutes of the Soham breath. We always like to have the spine nice and erect, and know that up above, about 5 or 6 feet, there's a point of light where the higher self, the pure light of spirit is. And then beneath about 6 feet is another point of light where the aspect of our soul, the Divine Mother, is. And so there is then a tube of light that goes from above to below, and this is the spinal column. And as energy is becoming unified within us, it then becomes the Kundalini energy that naturally arises from Earth Mother. It moves out through all 7 chakras and then unifies with Father Spirit. And then the sons and the daughters of light come into life through the star tetrahedron. So very beautiful. So let's go ahead and do about 5 minutes of Soham breath. As I've often mentioned, I like to do it with eyes open so I can drive and walk and garden and just throughout the day be really aligned with feeling spirit arising forth from within. So let's go ahead and very deep in the open doorway within the heart, summoning spirit. couple of more deep breaths. Summoning spirit from the open doorway, the void. Spirit arising forth, the fuel of our creation. God I am, Source I am. And then slowly coming back more and more to the now, and when it feels comfortable, to slowly open the eyes. When we do our meditation, the star tetrahedron meditation, we don't need to be consumed with the focusing upon the star nor its movement. It's more important to know that as the open doorway is established from within the heart chakra, that arising forth is this liquid, golden, sparkling light of spirit. And as it then flows from us like a living river, 360 degrees around, and you see this is exactly what the physical sun is doing. From the open doorway, what we call black hole within the center of the sun. There's also one in the center of every galaxy, and it's from out of that the spirit is arising forth. It then ignites into light and life, and that's the sun. And so it is a river always flowing of life from the sun that then through photosynthesis literally gives life to the planet. We then eat those plants, animals, and so then the photosynthesis then feeds our bodies. So it's all light emerging forth. So as we're doing the star tetrahedron, we bring our attention between the eyebrows and we ignite the light of the soul. And as the light is then filling the head, we then focus it down to the heart chakra, the sternum, and we can know or even feel, if we like, that the upper triangulation is moving left to right, and the lower triangulation is moving right to left, again, in all directions. But once we, in our consciousness, know that the star tetrahedron is moving, the important part is the doorway opens and spirit arising forth. So I'll take you through the sequencing of the star tetrahedron, and then we'll meditate for about 30 minutes, my friend. So let's go ahead and close the eyes and feel the body relaxing. Just allowing all of the tension just to settle away. The body is about 85% water. Let all the water of the body relax. Just letting go. I am letting go and relaxing. We always want to be aware of the breath. It is the breath that is summoning spirit from inside out. And we're conscious of breathing as we bring our attention to the brow chakra between the eyebrows. We draw a line straight back, and within the approximate center point of the head, we ignite the light. Imagination, we ignite the light of the soul within the center point of the head. the pineal gland. As we gently hold attention here, light increases, filling the mind, the brain, sunlight and peace. We focus it to the heart chakra at the sternum. We image in, imagine the star tetrahedron. You can feel it moving. It is already turning, upper triangulation, lower triangulation, and opposition, moving all around. But more importantly, it then opens the sacred doorway within the heart, from out of which Spirit Source, God I Am, is arising forth. It's touching the facets of the spinning star and creating liquid, living light. Fountains and rivers of sunlight are pouring out from us, feeding, nurturing the physical body, enlivening every cell, tissue, and organ, and flowing as living life and water out into the world. Source I Am, bringing light and life. Let's sit quietly together, and I will join with you as we create the living light together. And very easy now, allowing yourself to slowly come back into the moment. And as is comfortable, to slowly open. As we move forth into the new paradigm, of course, it's quite important to understand that what you are feeling and emanating is creating your reality much more rapidly, much more quickly, we might say, than it used to. And so we see people who have a lot of chaos inside of them simply emanating it out very dynamically and creating uh, more chaos and more upheaval in the world. It's all part of the plan, so to speak. It's all imperfection. And hopefully it's driving people to ask why. Well, we're fortunate we know why, but at the same time, we want to continue to refine our consciousness, our feeling nature, and know that we are then creating the seeds of the new becoming. And as we then are emanating this love, light, and joy, is such a dynamic quantum vibration that it begins to literally change reality, not because we're trying to change it, we're simply the harbingers of truth, wisdom, and love. Once again, not because we're special, it's just that our souls have us in this position to understand that the paradigm that we've been within is over, and we're moving into a new place of love and light activation as human divine beings. This is where we're going. Evolutionary jump is taking place. And to be part of this evolutionary jump, it's a choice. Will I feel myself as love, light, peace, and joy and keep focused with my breath, my meditation? Or will I get caught up in what's going on in the illusion of the world, the chaos, the things that are out of balance, the shootings? I'll have compassion for all of it, knowing that life is trying to teach itself how to evolve. At the same time, it won't bother me because source emanates from within. So great joy to be with you once again today, and we will be back in 2 weeks, just like clockwork. Once again, be sure and park your spaceships out in back, and don't settle on any trees, please. Someone settled on a tree the last time, and I had to repair the tree. So, good traveling throughout the cosmos, my friend, and look forward to seeing you very soon. Namaste.
Namaste.
Keep your spaceship.